right? Uh, make sure you look like at YouTube. Make sure you always got to be sure that it's there. You go.
Okay, here we go. All right. Do I have? I'm guessing I gotta introduce, right?
There you go. Because
Okay. All right. Welcome everybody to this experimental show that I'm starting called Cautiously Creative. What this show is, it's kind of to enlighten your creativity, no matter how cool or ridiculous it might sound. Who knows? You might even make someone laugh with your creativity. So I'm joined by my co-hosts, Uncle Shazam, aka Mr. Uncle, aka Uncle Phil. I know he has a lot of names. And
thank you.
then we
Thank you.
got the true ace here, or you can call him Air or Air Clyde, whatever you please. And today's prompt is create. Okay, so today's prompt is character creation. Now, when it comes to all things fictional, video games most especially, I'm usually into either science fiction or high fantasy. I kind of lean more towards sci-fi most of the time, but I do get into the high fantasy stuff every now and then. So, that being said, the prompt is to create one sci fi character and one fantasy character. The three requirements of this are what are they capable of, what are their strengths and weaknesses, and how did they come to be the way they are. Now, other than those three rules put into place, you can make the characters as badass, cool, or outright dumb and ridiculous as you make it to be. Hell, he could even be like some kind of a, jackass drunk or whatever. So yeah, I guess we'll start on alphabetical order here, starting with the ace himself, if he has something going already. I'm
I
pretty
don't really
sure.
have a backstory though. Is that fine?
Yeah, that's fine. If anything, you can kind of just say, "Oh, he became this way like this," but you don't. But if you read the text from this morning, I did mention that a thorough essay like backstory is completely unnecessary. You don't have to go that far with it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay. So do we just start with fantasy or
you can start with either
sci-fi?
one.
Okay. I guess for sci-fi, um, I guess I do have a backstory. The backstory is I just thought of right now
Mm-hmm.
is he is the son of Commander Shepard from the Mass Effect series,
Ooh, okay.
and he's I guess in the time of his tenure as Commander Shepard,
Mm-hmm.
he I guess he created a baby with a different species, say a Krogan or a Solarian.
Okay.
I'd say probably a Krogan. So this is probably the first hybrid human Krogan commander,
Mm-hmm.
in a way. So he has Krogan strength, which is brutal, just very strong, and Commander Shepard's wit. So he's very smart and very broad in brains, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So he has that. And what was the other thing that you wanted?
Let's see. So there's capability, there's strengths and weaknesses, like what are they good at, what are they
Yeah.
bad at, and then
Okay.
short summary of how they came to be the way they are, which I think you covered that already.
Yeah. So I think their capabilities I kind of listed that earlier, and their
Mm-hmm.
strengths.
Yeah.
But their weaknesses, I guess, since this commander, son of Commander Shepard, is still relatively young, he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't really have experience yet.
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of, a hot fuse, short fuse,
Yeah.
doesn't really listen to commands that well.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he just goes off the deep end sometimes. But he has very, very high potential since he's the son of probably the most famous commander there ever was.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a big boots to fill, in my ass.
Oh yeah, definitely. With a character like
So,
that.
yeah, that's pretty much my last minute sci-fi character.
Mm-hmm.
Commander Shepard the second,
Or junior.
or June. Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie, that I don't know how the other race looks like. If anything, it might probably remind me of like a Twi'lek from Star Wars or
Mm,
Chitauri from the same Star Wars universe. You know, the blue people, not not
yeah,
Avatar.
yeah.
But yeah, I kind of have a feeling that the skin color of this individual might look very out there for like our what we're used to seeing pretty much.
Different shades. Yeah,
Yeah, a literally out of world shade.
literally,
Yeah.
quite literally.
Nice.
I'm guessing the fantasy character is inspired from Witcher. It has to
You
be.
know, it's gotta be some kind of Witcher somehow. So
Yeah.
I guess it's probably like a long lost relative of Vesemir,
Mm-hmm.
whether like a bastard child or something.
Yeah.
But honestly, I need maybe a couple minutes on that one.
Okay. I mean, thinking about it, since Vesemir is a Witcher, I find it, and I do understand the basic lore of Witchers where they can't exactly sire children. I'm kind of wondering if, like, maybe this child must have been conceived before,
Hmm.
Vesemir went full on Witcher mode. That's just my guess, though, because as far as I know, Witchers and sorceresses cannot bear children.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I guess we'll go back to that one later.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
let's go with
I'm
Phil.
kind of thinking of backstory.
Okay, so all right, so my fantasy character is actually based off an Assassin's Creed pitch idea I had a long time ago. So I want you to imagine if Assassin's Creed took place in Hawaii during the time during now this is exactly during the time of the overthrow, where of course you had U.S. white people overthrow Queen Liliuokalani, and now of course there's a whole scene where that happens and where the queen is in prison. But this assassin, um, this assassin is actually a descent. Um, we actually have the person who's inside the Animus. He is a descendant of Desmond Miles. And what happens is that when he's in the Animus, there was an assassin that killed the that that tried to prevent the overthrow, but was too late. And the assassin's name is Kaimana.
Hmm.
Does he doesn't belong to any particular royal house, does he? Because to my knowledge, right now in our world, there is one descendant of a particular house in the royal family, not from Kamehameha's side, but some other royal house that's not quite close to the royal family itself, but like it's like an important part of it. And I believe he's a politician right now. I kind of forgot his name, but yeah, apparently in some way, the Kamehameha line somehow kind of still exists if you think about it.
In a way, that part I haven't put much thought to it.
Mm-hmm.
So this was just something that this is something I thought of, like, um a long time ago. But
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to pitch an idea for a game, if Assassin's Creed ever did um an actual game that was actually like based in Hawaii. And so the entire plot of the game is that Kaimana, the uh, and he actually he and Kaimana actually comes from a what you would describe back in the day, or back in that time, a poor class, or someone who lived in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
And um much like you've heard of every other assassin whose family were brutally murdered, maimed, in this case, Kaimana's family was during the time during the time one of the one of what the people that was part of the overthrow
Mm-hmm.
um killed killed Kaimana's family, and now now he's on that hunt to eliminate those men before the events of before the events of the overthrow.
Mm-hmm.
But finds out that um he's just he as soon as the papers were signed for the overthrow,
Mm-hmm.
he becomes too late, and now he cannot change that course of events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I know Assassin's Creed, they have a history with twisting with they kind of twist history, but not to the point where it completely contradicts history itself. Like for example, in Assassin's Creed Unity, um, Robespierre, he literally gets shot in the face and ends up with a hole by his mouth. And in real life, that he was actually found that way, but no one knows how that happened in reality.
Oh, and also for the aesthetic purpose,
Mm-hmm.
I want to give Kaimana a shark tooth blade
Mm,
as a hidden blade.
dang. I want to see that in an Assassin's Creed game.
So and of course and one of the things that make him like really OP
Mm-hmm.
is and which I thought would be cool if they would do more of it is he had, he actually carries around a spear, and his spear staff fighting skills are very amazing and very uncanny.
Mm, dang. I want to see this in a game one day, if they ever do get around to it. So yeah, I
So
guess that's your fantasy character, right? Pretty much.
yeah.
Okay. Um, have you thought anything about your fantasy character yet, Air? Or not yet? Still need more time.
Uh, I guess I'll kind of wing it here. So he's the
Okay.
bastard child of Vesemir.
Uh huh.
Actually, to make it even more interesting, the bastard daughter of Vesemir,
Mm. Another
and
Siri.
potentially, and pretty much to the next series if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But in this case, since Vesemir is a lot older than Geralt was,
Mm-hmm.
this series might be a little older as well.
Mm.
So I'd say maybe she lived her like first 30 years of her life as a human,
Mm-hmm.
and finally was put into the Witcher school or school of witchery, whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And now
I
at the
can
ripe age
answer
of 30
this.
years old. Yeah, go ahead. We'll
Hello?
take a quick. Oh, okay. We should tell him about the "be right back" scene, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
it's alright. We're still.
Okay, bye.
So is this like a trial or meeting? Like what?
I would say call it a practice or a trial run.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
Everything good?
Um. Who me?
Yeah. Just wondering if
Oh, what you call
continue or
yeah. Go ahead. Wherever you left off. Sorry about that.
no worries. So I guess, like I said, she's around in her 30s or 40s, and
Uh huh.
she's a late bloomer pretty much, and finally entering the school of witchery. And I guess timeline wise, I don't know. This is gonna be a little hard to put a year on, but
Mm.
I would say maybe during Geralt's prime,
Mm-hmm.
she's kind of like working her way up the Witcher rankings
Mm.
and making a name for herself. I guess in the underground, before she makes it big.
Yeah.
So, huh? She definitely has Vesemir's strong will.
Yeah.
She has that, but in terms of skills, she's kind of lacking as of yet.
Mm-hmm.
So she's still training in underground until, you know, she's an official elite, so to speak.
Mm.
nice.
So, and then down the road, she definitely finds, more experienced, and eventually comes face to face with Siri herself.
Oh shit. Okay. I can't wait for that to happen. Actually, thinking about it, if this is a bastard daughter of
A bastard daughter.
Vesemir, I can, and you mentioned that she's in her like late 30s or 40s. I
Yeah,
can
kind of late bloomer.
I can kind of imagine she's like somewhere around the same age as Yennefer and Triss, and at the same
Could be.
time, since she's a heroine, she could be, I don't know, a MILF by appearance.
I don't know about that, but
Well,
sure.
as far as I know, you know, you may be surprised how, attractive, you know, 30, mid 30s, women in their mid 30s could be if they, provided they actually take good care of themselves.
Yeah, I see what you're trying to say. Like girls, ladies of her age, especially in the Witcher fantasy realm, tend to look really good for their age.
Yeah.
So and obviously she has good genes in Vesemir. Because Vesemir in his prime was pretty good as well. How old is Vesemir anyway? He's like 200 years old, right? He's pretty old.
But well, I guess chronologically, I probably, but biologically, as in his appearance, I would probably give him maybe like late 50s or 60s just by
Oh,
looking
okay.
at him.
I guess for his age, he looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, that's my mini winging it fantasy character.
Don't worry, I'm like way too familiar with winging it. So Phil, did you do did you go over a sci-fi character yet?
No, I have not.
Oh, okay.
But I too will also be winging this character as well.
Oh boy.
So so all right. So for my my sci-fi character, I'm actually in a sense I'm mixing. I'm not mixing, but okay. I'm basically creating a character who that's literally inspired by Rick and Morty or the Watcher Nuatu from Marvel Comics. And basically this character who I will call Kairos. Now, in biblical term, it means in God's time. But this character Kairos is much like the Watcher. He stands and observes the entire flow of time and space itself. And but I would say this character is much more powerful than Nuatu, because not only does Kairos have the ability to cross through different dimensions and change the timeline as he pleases, but every choice that Kairos makes in changing the timeline comes with consequence. So while observing the timeline, Kairos decides to goes into the current. Well, we'll merge him with the current MCU timeline. And also, this is also a little bit inspirations from the What If series, which is available on Disney Plus. And so in one of the What If timelines, Kairos will visit the female version of Captain America, aka Peggy Carter, or should I say Captain Carter.
First time about this one.
Well, this was actually a good episode. I actually liked that episode. I know people didn't like it, but I actually liked I actually thought it was actually pretty cool seeing a female version of Peggy Carter as Captain America. So, but anyways, Kairos it actually go jumps into that timeline and warns yeah, Kairos warns Peggy that there's a cataclysmic event coming. A planet eater is coming, much like the Silver Surfer. But instead, Kairos is actually of good, where Silver Surfer has to obey Galactus,
Mm.
because because Silver Surfer is pretty much the one that seeks out the planets and just gives planets to Galactus to feed on. So yeah, and finds out that Galactus was actually able to not only not only was Galactus able just to eat plants, but he Galactus got so OP that he was able to cross different Earths, or actually different alternate universes, just so that he could feast on more planets as he went. Not just one universe, but he went on different universes just to feed on more planets than he possibly could.
Oh, okay. Spooky.
So that's where Kairos becomes that the character that will warn people of Galactus's incoming,
Mm.
and will gather heroes from different timelines just to face Galactus.
Ah, so he can. So he literally crosses through alternative timelines as if he was just taking the bus to work.
Pretty much.
Dang. So pretty much this is not an Earthbound character at all.
No, this is what you would call a cosmic level character.
Yikes. Kind of reminds me of the Beyonder now that I think about it.
In a way it does, but
Hmm.
in a way it does. But I mean, Beyonder will be mentioned, will
Mm-hmm.
be will be mentioned in the story. But right now, during that time, Beyonder is with Madam Web, trying to repair the Spider Verse.
Mm. Okay. Makes sense. Okay. I guess to kind of wrap things up, I'll go over mine's pretty quickly. Pretty sure you guys have heard of it before, but I do want to expand on it a little bit more. So my sci-fi character is the Road Ranger, real name Matt Santos. Um, what he's capable of is he's very athletic. He's an expert marksman with all sorts of firearms, and he's an experienced hand-to-hand combatant. Basically, he's really good with boxing and wrestling. His strengths are he's very no nonsense, gets the job done kind of guy. But his weakness is, he's since he's a human being, he's vulnerable to, blunt force trauma and all that stuff, just like anyone else would. It's just that he's just a little bit more resilient since he's like, tip top physical condition slash shape. Besides that, his other weakness is he's not exactly the forgiving type, especially when it comes to murder. Like, if someone is guilty of murder, or if someone that he believes is guilty of murder, he will find them and he will end their lives, no matter what it takes for him. Um,
Ooh, sounds like a Punisher level
he's
character.
basically the Punisher, but he also takes inspirations from like, um, Mad Max and a little bit of Batman in there. As far as capability, wait, I already went over capabilities. The way he came to be was, pretty simple. After he came home from war and earned a Medal of Honor, he watched his mother get murdered by a sniper that no one could see, and since then, after he found the responsible party or the guilty party, he had to leave his country and go into hiding for who knows how long. I guess this is just bonus tidbits here. He does own a couple of vehicles, one for ground, the other for air. The ground vehicle is basically a cargo van. You know how a cargo van looks like, right? Something like a UPS truck or delivery van, something
Oh,
like
that
that.
kind.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
was thinking like like the classic like Punisher van.
it's kind of like that, except it's a little bit bigger and more bulletproof. And here's the cool thing about it. Um, the backside, I'm only talking about the backside because the front side isn't really anything special. The backside has a seven weapon racks that he could like hang his guns on whenever he goes out for like a trip or whatever. Like let's say his hunt is like on on the southern side of Texas and he's living all the way in the northern side. That's his that's one of his go-to vehicles to get from point A to point B. Besides the wall racks hanging his guns hitman style, he also has a desk, not for him specifically, but for his sidekick Miz, who is a teenage hacker inspired by my brother Juriel. Um, so what Miz does is he hooks up his laptop and he's able to make use of multiple monitors on the wall of the vehicle. So yeah, that's his ground vehicle. The air vehicle is a helicopter, not exactly a Black Hawk, but it kind of works like that.
Hmm.
It's a lot less it's a lot less spacious than the van,
Sure.
but the cool thing about it is, he had it's welded with it has a Vulcan minigun welded on it. Which, if you were to do that with any civilian helicopter, that would be super illegal. But in a post-apocalyptic world, nobody's gonna give a shit unless it's the bad
Sure.
guys. But yeah, basically a civilian helicopter fitted with a military grade weapon. Uh, I think yeah, that's all there is for Matt Santos. This one, okay. Now for my fantasy character, which I think is not quite as interesting, but someone else might say otherwise. So Lam Ang is actually inspired by a mythical story from the Ilocano people. To put it simply, the way I interpreted Lam Ang as a character is kind of like a Filipino version of Conan the Barbarian. Uses sword and shield and archery as his
Ooh.
combat skills. He also has a certain healing factor, which it kind of works like Wolverine, but unlike Wolverine, where it heals even the scars, it leaves scars behind. So if you're to like land a small if you're to land like you know a puncture wound on Lam Ang, it's gonna heal, but it's gonna leave a scar there. I don't know why, but I thought, okay, I don't want to make this guy exactly like Wolverine, so I gotta make his healing factor a little bit imperfect. Um, so yeah, his capabilities, other than the healing factor and medieval style combat, um, he's quite strong. Like he could lift a 12,000 pound boulder like it's a bowling ball. Um, his strengths are, well, I kind of went over it. Like he's quite strong, and he kind of has this code that he abides by, which is sort of like a mix of Bushido and chivalry. His weakness is he's a bit naive. Like unlike Matt Santos, who is very aware of the realities around him, Lam Ang is not exactly like that. Like if you were to show him what a gun looks like, he's gonna be like, "What is that?" Like he would have no idea what that is. Um,
Makes sense.
yeah. So how he came to be is pretty similar to you know Matt Santos, except how this one happened, which is also from the original myth, is his father and an entourage went out for hunting or something like that, and they haven't come back at their expected time. So Lam Ang decided to search out for his father, find out what happened to him. Turns out the father was murdered along with the entourage, and their heads were left on, pikes, as you can imagine.
Oh,
So when he found the guilty party, a rival tribe, he literally went in a bloodthirsty rage and slaughters every single person in the rival tribe. Like, no prisoners taken. And
ouch.
yeah, and since then, that incident kind of cemented him as this butcher of some sort. Kind of like how Geralt earned a negative nickname of, what is it? The Butcher of something?
Oh, the
Butcher
uh,
Blaviken.
That's it.
Blaviken.
That's
Oh, blah blah
he
blah blah
kind
blah.
of earned a nickname somewhat akin to that. Now, as far as like, his modes of transportations, I think it's a bit cooler in some way, I guess.
Mm.
So he has two pets with him that accompany him every now and then in his journeys. He has a dog, which the dog can willingly supersize himself to the point where he literally looks as big as a horse. So think of it like Akamaru from Naruto, where you can literally ride a dog like it's a horse. And the other animal that accompanies him in his journeys is a chicken. Now you're probably thinking, oh, what is this, his dinner? No, this chicken can literally turn itself into something like a griffin. So yeah, this chicken is not a chicken, I guess. But yeah, that's all that is from my cautious creativity. Oh,
Wait, what's
and
his
of
name?
lam. Wait, are you talking about the chicken or the character?
I guess the chicken.
Uh, I haven't given a name for the animals, so
Ah.
if anything, there you can either leave it up to your imagination
Hmm.
or, because then these animals don't exactly talk, but they can transform into like 10 times their size. In fact, the
Huh.
chicken I think is the most interesting because you know how like you're able to ride a dragon about 40,000 feet high?
Sure.
Kind of the same idea with this extraordinary
Wow.
chicken. Yeah.
That's
I'm not gonna lie. It looks like this. It sounds like you took some LSD before you said that story.
Maybe, but then
You
again,
kind of
I
went,
think I think I might have gotten it from the very first quest of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, where you
"Oh, the
actually
chicken."
yeah, where you actually have to kill a griffin.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. But yeah.
Well, there you go. The winging it segment of the show.
Mhm.
Okay, the cautionary tales. What's it called?
Yeah, sure. Or cautiously creative. What mind you.
There you go.
very nice.
So, yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, I might come up with something different the next time I host, but
Mm.
yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. Whoever the next host is gonna be, I look forward to their presentation of this new style of podcasting we're doing. So yeah, goodbye and good night.